Um, Thank you for being here because this is our first time talking, um, with one another in front of other people. One
Okay.
thing I think that I've always been blessed for many reasons, but one of those reasons is I've been blessed with you as a mom, not just because you're a great mom, but also because you are a very open mother and you are open about many topics, you know, that we deal with in this world. You've always talked to us as your children in a very honest way, always appropriate for where we were in life and how old we were, and that honesty and openness um, has allowed me to be fearless in many ways and opening up my practice, but also doing what I do. The entire reason I became an OBGYN is because of you,
Yeah,
for
that's
many
my
reasons.
experience. And well, thank you for what you said. But coming from a different culture where children are supposed to be seen and not heard, uh, and then when I moved to this country in 1980
From where?
from Nigeria, one of the things it was I was always, because my father raised us up to speak up for ourselves first of all, and he encouraged us to go to school. But it was a male domineering culture. But he would always tell me, I remember that, stop running your mouth. You better go stop do your studies. So if your husband throws your stuff out of the house, you can feed yourself. So, but it was accepted. It was the man that decides when the marriage ends and all that. So when I moved here, I wanted you all to, but when I moved here, when I go to work, I always don't want to offend everybody. But I decided if I teach you all how to speak your mind to me,
Mm-hmm.
then it will be easier for you to speak your mind
Mm-hmm.
in any occasion outside, to be able to don't let people control your destiny,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I've always emphasized as a mother. But it has its good side and bad side. One of the bad sides is that you speak up to me sometimes. Now, say, don't talk to me like that. And you say, well, mommy, you told us to speak our mind. And I say, well, not in that way. But anyway, I feel blessed um, that I'm your mother also, because you make me proud. Um, I never think twice when you all go to school excursions or anything. Usually, most of the time, I'm there. But sometimes we cannot go because you're start growing. I know you will always speak up for yourself, and you always do. So, and I
Well,
feel blessed having you as a daughter, because when I see you now, and I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's
yeah,
good.
thank you.
Yeah.
And so what we're talking about today, that's it's one of the biggest things that women don't speak up about.
Yes.
And I think I'm blessed. No, I'm blessed because you allowed me to speak up for myself in so many different ways. And so for me, it's been very natural to speak up for myself in this way concerning um, perimenopause and menopause. It's been very easy for me to talk to you about it. And one thing I recognized pretty early in my career, in serving and working with women, is that that's not a usual thing.
Mm-hmm.
Women don't usually speak up for themselves in many arenas, but especially health and what's needed, and especially as we're making the transition into menopause. And I wonder if that's also maybe because women just don't know. They just don't know. You always talk to us.
Yeah, women don't know, and it wasn't something I heard from my mom. We
Mm-hmm.
never discussed anything
Mm-hmm.
about female. I know when I first found my period, I went to her. I thought I was hurt or something where I was playing outside.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when she talked to me and said, well, you're now the woman. And that I felt devastated, because I'm like, what is this that's happening? Some of my friends did not have it, but she, in her own generation, you don't discuss things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't handed over to me. And also, you don't discuss anything female, because it's supposed to be a taboo to talk about it. So, but things have changed. Like if a woman is going to have a baby, usually the man is sent out of the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's more of culture. She never spoke about that, but she was open. If I think about it, she was open in her own way. But every generation, things change.
So is that why you always felt it was important for you to be open with us?
So that's why I felt that it's important for me to be open to you all, to make it a little bit something that you know that's happening to your body, that there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
And that you might be the first to have that change, but it doesn't, others gonna have, everybody has a stage.
Yeah. For those who may be watching us talk, and I think, I skipped over a big part, that you're my mom. And we have been blessed, with a wonderful relationship, mother-daughter relationship. There's always ups and downs. There's no one that has no up or no down in their relationship, but we've been blessed with a relationship where we're able to be mom and daughter, but we've also been blessed in a way in which we've been able to be like colleagues, right? Because we've worked together here in the practice, and we've worked together in helping women rediscover who they are. And we've had a lot of patients who've commented on how, are you able to talk to your daughter about that? Or you're able to talk to your, for me, you're able to talk to your mom about that? Have you ever felt, so I know, like you're saying, with grandma, you may not have been able to, she may not have taught this to you early, but in her own way, as you were experiencing it, life, growing into womanhood, you did get some information from her. Did you ever feel weird talking to us about menstruation, periods, about sex, about going into the house?
I never feel weird, but sometimes I feel like you all, when you were younger, would feel weird. I don't know if you remember this. When we went on vacation one time, I had this nightgown that I have.
And you always have your nightgowns. You always have.
And
you always like your sets.
The front part was open with lace, and you all picked it up and looked at it like, "This mommy," and that sort of thing. But my mom, as we got older, I remember when she came to visit us while you all were gone, and I was losing weight, and she said, "You need to stop losing weight. When your husband holds you, you're not going to be full." And he said, I said, "Mama, stop talking like that." Because we never discussed sex. But she was open that time. So life is stages that you go through. And women will go through different stages, but they don't discuss women as stages as much as they discuss men. It's up to us.
And I think, like in society, for boys talking to their dads, or even if a mom is talking to a boy about stages, there's more that is more accepted than sitting and talking to your daughter. I know, for me, talking to Lily, it was actually easier for me to talk to Lily about very clinical things, and then to talk about. So I talked to her about menstruation, talked to her about periods. I talked to her about what happens for a woman to have a period, but we didn't talk about sex. And there was one day I was sitting down, and I've had patients myself as teenagers that I've delivered that did not realize, that they didn't understand how they got pregnant.
I didn't understand either. I was 18 years old. I was in high school. And I didn't know that the baby comes from here.
From the vagina?
But I couldn't figure it out. Nobody spoke about sex to me. So it was, when we went into biology class, we just did biology, the human anatomy, but it wasn't about sex and having a baby. But you were told, don't go near a man because you will get pregnant, but you don't know how that pregnancy will happen, where will the baby come from, and all that.
So that is exactly the reason. When I remember, I was laying down in bed and I woke up
Mhm.
And you know how you have thoughts about other things, and this thought came to me, and it was like you didn't correlate the two with Lily: menstruation, sex,
Sex,
baby.
baby, yes.
And so I've delivered many teenagers who did not have that correlation themselves, and they got pregnant.
Mhm.
And not saying that Lily is of the age to have sex, or she's not, you know, having, but I felt that it was important to give that correlation of sequence.
Yes.
And that is, you know, when a girl's starting menstruation, that's very important to have that conversation, because there is pregnancy prevention, and one way you prevent an unwanted pregnancy is having the conversation of how you become pregnant,
Yes.
right? And,
Yeah.
and so, you know, so it does not, so that's stigmatized, I think, period, talking to girls about that. But at the same time, when you do that and you give people education and knowledge, what you've done is to empower them.
Empower them.
And
yes.
so for me, in this stage of my life, as I'm entering perimenopause, I feel very empowered. And it actually isn't just because of the education I have, and it's not because of my background, it's because of you and the conversations like this, you know, where I've always felt open to talk to you. And I, in my way, I feel open to that, to experience too. I'm not scared. I guess that's the biggest thing. I'm not fearful. I'm not fearful. You know, when after I gave birth to Lily, and I was breastfeeding, and it hurt so badly, and I didn't understand why it would hurt so badly, and
with you being a gynecologist,
yeah, just never thought about that. And so I remember when I was breastfeeding, and I said to you, "This hurts," and you said, "Yeah," and I said, "But you know it hurts," and you said, "Yeah, it hurts. It always hurts when you first start. It always hurts really bad." Mm-hmm. I said, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" Mm-hmm. And you said, "Why would I have told you?" and I said, "You did tell me." I felt that's the first time. So I guess when I hear patients say, "My mom never talked to me about it," in that instance, I guess I understand, because that was probably the only thing we've never talked about. Mm-hmm. And I felt, why would you not share something like that with me? You said, "Why would I have told you? If I told you, you wouldn't have done it." Mm-hmm. And I thought, well, I don't know if that's true, if I wouldn't have done it. But so that, just so you know, as an example, that's where I felt like I didn't have freedom, because I wasn't giving it to you, giving mm-hmm. it from you as information. But everything else, I have been. And so again, it's important to really talk about changes.
It's important to talk about changes.
Yeah.
But things are different now than it is. You know, when children turn into, you started schooling, from that you went to medical school, and you would think most of those things will also be discussed,
yeah.
like your medical school. And yeah. One of the reasons you went to being a gynecologist was my personal experience I had as a person,
yeah.
during my journey in my life.
Yeah.
But I think the whole thing is about women. We need to start communicating with our daughters to educate them about what's going to happen. And each stage is a process that we have to cherish and enjoy each
yeah.
stage.
Yeah.
Because men do the same.
Well, it's bonding too.
Yeah,
you're bonding, and because you want to be, you know, still as old as I am, you're my mom. I respect you as my mom, but you also are women, mm-hmm. and you want to have that close relationship. So mm-hmm. if you have a relationship with your mom or your daughter, in which you're able to talk about, you know, things, and you have a good loving relationship, this should be menopause, perimenopause, periods, sex, all that they can be shared.
They can be shared. Yeah. And I think they even need now need more getting into medical field as that's why I volunteered when you were young in teen pregnancy.
Yeah.
Because I felt I will make a difference for some of these girls that have pregnancy.
Yeah.
Without anybody telling them. I volunteered when you were young in teen pregnancy. And you find that a lot of those things would have been prevented
if
there was a conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not a question of using birth control, but it's a question of because people are told don't have sex, but they're not told if you do have it, what you can do.
Well, and also
to prevent
if you
getting venereal disease and all this other stuff.
And what can you do outside of sex?
So what can you do outside
Like,
of
yeah,
sex?
bettering yourself, working on yourself, like education. And if you have to give people an alternative, you can't just say, don't do this. You can say to a person, especially something that they feel natural, to do naturally, you can say, these are the consequences if you do this now. These can be the consequences, because everything has a consequence result. These are the consequences if you do it later, and it's structured in a different way. And then, as opposed to doing this now, these are some alternatives of what you can do now, and so on and so forth for later. And in the context of perimenopause, menopause, when we're talking about like treatments, because I've had a lot of friends who've also said to me, when I finally talk to my mom about it, or my aunt, whoever is that next generation up, and I say, hey, I'm feeling all these things, just maybe as in conversation, I'm having hot flashes, night sweats, or I'm just moody a lot. And maybe they bring up the topic of hormone therapy, let's just say. They've said to me that their aunts or their moms dismiss it, as an option, and say, well, I went through it. Maybe, and don't even necessarily give detail, but say, I went through it, and so you should just go through it without. And that puts them at risk.
Life should always be, if you're gonna do this, make sure this. Because my father just telling me, if you're going to run your mouth the way you speak up for yourself, you better get your education.
Yeah.
And he knows that being educated will lift you up to the next level. He wasn't saying you're going to get divorced, but he's just saying if ever that will happen.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Women are not taught to speak up. They're not taught to learn. So because things work for you that way, it shouldn't be that way for your child, for your girl.
Yeah.
This hormone therapy is that's why, for example, they have Viagra for men.
Yeah.
But they don't have anything now over there for women, because women, they just got an alternative for them now.
Yeah.
But they brush it out because they feel like, okay, I don't have to spend money to do this.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't have to spend money to be happy. I deserve to be where I am.
Yeah.
Or they'll start looking for the side effects. But it's for us to start educating people that there's alternative for you as a woman.
So if you had to talk to a young mom who has young kids, in your circumstance, because you have 3 girls and a boy, right? So in your circumstance as a young mom with kids, and talking about, developing growth and everything, what would your advice be for that young mom when it pertains to her daughters or even her son, in talking about like life and developing?
Especially if they're growing up and you feel like their body is changing, that's when you start educating them that those changes is natural. When their nipples start coming out and you see it as a mom, to educate them that this nipple that's coming out is part of your growing up. Just like take a baby picture and show them their baby picture when they were born, for example, maybe 7 pounds, maybe 8 pounds, but to show them the picture of that age or whatever age you're teaching them, those are natural changes. The girls born differently. If they grow faster than their peers, they feel different, more than boys. And you go explain to them that all these changes are natural, especially when their period is going to come. I had mine when I was 10 years old. So most of the time, your children will repeat. They will have their own around that period, and you be aware of that. You use your own experience. Your mom educated you. Don't wait for the school to teach your child about it.
You can buy your own books. There are really good books. Yeah.
Don't leave the school system to train your child or teach your child. You have to start teaching your child at home. And whatever you teach them is they will know, not what our others teach them, because you have to start the education at home.
And then lastly, for if you were for like call someone your age now, for mom your age now, who has older children, who maybe didn't talk to their children when they were young, what would your advice be for a younger mom?
My advice, for me, for our Nigerian community, I teach them that all the time. I sometimes they will come tell me, shut up, don't talk about this. I tell them you have to now, especially when we have a women conference. I teach them you have to talk to your girls. You can't tell them don't have boyfriend. You have to tell them bring your boyfriend so that you know their boyfriend. You can't just teach them, just make sure you pray. Teach them about life.
Yeah.
Because one day you will not be here. It's what you educate them with, and know that life is changing. It's not the life you lived that you want your children to live. You want them to live a better life.
Yeah.
You want them to be in a position where they will pass that mantle that you pass to your children to themselves. Because when we're at work, I have co-workers that are around my age, but they still don't feel comfortable discussing things like that with them.
Yeah.
And having worked here with you, when I worked here, I noticed some of these older people, when I talk to them about many couple of things, they say, no, it's okay. It's for them, they think, one of the ladies told me that it's okay to, when you laugh, to pee.
Yeah.
I said, no, ma'am, it's not okay to do that. It's not okay. These are your options that you can do so that you will stop having those embarrassing moments. At least, even if you don't stop it completely, that you be able to control it.
Yeah.
The man is not going to accept that when he laughs,
he pees
on himself.
Yeah. Mommy, thank you.